boss here, and from everything that's been shown so far, it's looking pretty good. Pretty good. And I'm not even talking about scale, I mean, just look at that delicious gameplay. One of the first things that stood out to me from the preview footage is how different the two playable characters feel. You've got Old Man Leon on one side and Dainty Ass Grace on the other, clearly not built the same way. Leon looks beefier than before, almost like Chris did back in RE7 and 8, and combat definitely looks meatier this time around. With Grace, it's another story. Her side of the game takes on a much tenser look, slower, way more survival focused and methodical, less room to breathe. You can already tell her sections are going to lean harder into straight up horror. Definitely a big plus for me. Reminds me of a mix between the good parts of Resi 4 and 6. And I mean that in the best possible way. The combat changes are pretty interesting too. From what's been shown, melee isn't just a panic button anymore like it used to be. Leon's knife has been replaced with a gnarly tomahawk axe, and looks pretty strong. But it has durability to even it out, so you can't just spam it. You actually have to think about when to use it. This alone changes the rhythm because now every swing matters. And then there's the enemies. This might be the coolest part so far. RE9 zombies don't just wander around aimlessly. They've got a bit more brains. They even seem to follow their own routines. There's some footage of one of them that looks like a Mexican cleaning lady that was just casually sweeping the area. Others that react to sounds, saw another one that was finagling with the light switches. Lots of little details that really bring the game to life. It really seems like a lot of the enemies are responding to light and sound dynamically, so this means encounters most likely won't be as scripted as before. That means you can mess up or get creative or, in my case, accidentally make things worse. It's not all about the loud chaos though, although I'm sure there will be lots of that later on. It's really the creepy atmosphere that piqued my interest. It almost feels like Capcom is experimenting with a sort of mini ecosystem inside these areas. Not just these empty open worlds, but smarter enemy AI, and there's more than just what they do with every other game where they go, green zombie is now red zombie, but bigger. Then you've got the return of the chainsaw enemy. Yeah, that's back. And from what's been shown, it's not just a throwaway mini-boss, it looks aggressive and kinda brutal. If regular enemies can already mess you up, imagine adding something like that into the mix. That's stress, but I'm all for it. The inventory system looks tight again too. Both Leon and Grace have different spaces and resources that seem to pop up in different quantities as well. It almost looks like Leon got his attaché case back from RE4. There's also this wild mechanic around blood samples this time around, like some sort of blood junkie or something. I like that it looks restrictive because the more comfortable you are in a Resident Evil, the less scary it tends to become, so struggle is sort of the point. There's also been some footage showing syringe upgrades, which probably means progression is going to be more controlled this time around. A lot more meaningful instead of just stacking on some random stat boosts. There was even apparently a boss fight that was shown behind closed doors involving Victor Gideon. The fight looks pretty cinematic, and I think this type of fight works if you really try to build it up beforehand. What I really appreciate about everything shown so far is that Capcom isn't over-explaining the story. They're not trying to do a lot of hand-holding. They're keeping it pretty tight, letting the environments speak for themselves with the game tone, looking darker and grittier than ever. There's this sort of oppressive atmosphere to a lot of the indoor sections, with some industrial corridors, confined rooms that feel almost clinical, but kind of off, kind of wrong at the same time. Comparing it to RE Village, it feels a lot more focused, and honestly, I think that might have been the right move this time around. Because after Village went big and dramatic, pulling things back into something a bit tighter and more controlled will make it feel fresh again. The Leon sections look like they're going to balance action and survival pretty well, while the Grace sections look like they're going to test your patience, something like Alien Isolation. Really good game, by the way, if you ever have the time, and it's almost always on sale on Steam, by the way. I think if Capcom alternates those properly, the pacing could be really strong. The big question is whether all of this ambition will actually connect, with smarter zombies, a bit of durability mixed into the melee, blood crafting jutsus and dual protagonists with cinematic boss fights, and a darker psychological tone. That's a lot. But if it works, Resident Evil Requiem could end up feeling like a real evolution instead of just another numbered entry in the series. Even the name, Requiem, I'm sure it's hinting at something. You think it might be the end for Leon? Definitely feels deliberate. Or maybe Capcom just opened a thesaurus and chose a word at random. Who knows really, right? But from everything shown so far, it looks like they're actually trying something new. And that's way more exciting than a predictable sequel. We'll see how it all lands when it's in players' hands, but based on the footage and previews alone, I think Resi 9 might be aiming higher than people expected. And honestly, I'm definitely here for it. Thanks again for joining me today. Feel free to drop any other gaming news in the comments or tell me what you'd like me to cover next time. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Have a great one.